I'm Peter Getoff. My business is the human equation. But the focus this morning is on Michael Schoettle and his wonderful, very special, unique book. He's a very interesting man, and his background includes many years in working in the executive search realm, in top executive search agencies. And also he's written this fabulous book. It's called Career Change Guide. Taking the right path could make all the difference. Michael Schoettle.
Good morning, Peter. What I've done in the book is I've put the ideas that I gained through those experiences to help people who are thinking about doing something different, to help them figure out how best to do that. And the most important thing about where you work, I found, is you have to have the same values as the people there. If you and they share the same values, you will connect well with them, and they will connect with you, and you'll trust them, and you'll understand them better. And values are primarily your core values, like integrity, caregiving. Before I got into executive search, I worked for 10 years at Xerox Corporation in 5 different business units. And I discovered very early on that each business unit had its own culture. And so that's something I've learned. And then, of course, when I'm doing executive search, each client has its own particular culture, and whoever they hire needs to fit in, with both in terms of values,
right,
and understanding and passion for whatever the company or organization is doing. And one other minor thing is I've been very fortunate and been involved with US Olympic sailing over 40 years. I was on a boat that won a gold medal in 1952. I ran the Olympics in Los Angeles in 84. Then I was the team leader of the US Olympic team in Barcelona in 1992. Yeah. I learned there too that to do well, a sailor, an Olympian, and I think anybody needs to focus on what they're doing, not on some goal they're going to achieve.
Yes.
Doing what they need to do at the moment. And that way they do their best, and then hopefully things will work out for them.
You know, I feel so fortunate to be meeting with you again, because I always learn something from meeting with you. I benefit from your wisdom. Thank you. In your book, Career Change, Making a Difference in Your Life, your book is integrated with your wisdom that comes from your years and years of experience. And as you have, transparently shared your experience, like every single one of us has had experience with failure and with lots of success in terms of dealing with all kinds of problems.
I've written this book to help people figure out who they are. Then they can, and with their values as the basis, then what they do well and what they'd like to do will work, and who they like to benefit from.
Right.
Then I take them step by step to each step of the process, which the first is to talk to people you know and respect. We call that networking. And that's the most important thing. And then secondly, if you're looking for a job, you want to interview the company and understand what it's like, who are the people like there. Yeah, you want to look good, but more importantly, you want to just let them see who you are, not try to make yourself look better than you are. Look who you are,
yes,
who they are and what they value and how they work together, and see if that would be a place where you'd be comfortable.
It's really, it's at least a 2-step process. And this is one of the things I think that sets, like you said, that sets your book apart from other books like it. It's not just about being organized and identifying goals and being very systematic about that, but it's really about identifying and getting in touch with what are one's values, especially related to what you want to do with your life, work-wise, and then being able to take that into the interview setting and having a discussion and interaction where you can also kind of flesh out what are the values of wherever you're trying to work.
When you're in an interview, you're in the interview. You want to find out about them, and you let them find out about you in a nice way. You ask questions, and if they ask for facts, give them facts. Don't tell them you're good at anything. Tell them what you've done. You can't tell people these are my values. You have to demonstrate them in what you've done, and they the same, and you're just doing it naturally. That's the thought.
From the human equation point of view, my business being well, I'm psychologically minded and you're psychologically minded. Because I have anxiety about wanting to do well, or I'm really wanting this job, the initial focus is like on my performance. And one of the things that you're reminding us is that we are entitled to, and it is so important to see ourselves as interviewing them and as finding information out about them, especially, as you say, like identifying what's the culture and what are the values with the company.
When you ask questions about how the decisions are made, and if you go to the meeting organized with maybe a list of questions that you already found something else about them, you have a list there and written down. Then you start asking questions that are good questions. That tells them a lot about you. So it's really your questions reveal who you are. If you ask a lot about the compensation and that's not going to go off very well.
Yes.
How does a team work together? What are the values? How are decisions made? Who takes responsibility? How do you help each other? That identifies how you think, and that's a good thing to do.
Exactly. I appreciate your honesty about that.
I've divided the book into a chapter for each step of the process of looking for a job. And for instance, the first steps are to figure out who you are. And we've discussed that. But once you have a sense for that, then you have to decide if you're going to want to stay or leave where you're working. You may not be happy with your boss, but maybe you could get another job in the organization, doing something different, because each group is different. So you're wise to take your time. Don't just rush off. Think about it and look into the options you have there before you leave. And if you decide to leave, then you need to prepare yourself. And that includes writing a resume. And I have several thoughts about a resume. I think a resume should have the facts about what you've accomplished. In the networking, you again talk to people who are more knowledgeable, people you trust. You want to talk to people who have a broader perspective that can give you ideas, and not that they're going to find you a job, but initially talk to people who are consultants or leaders, and maybe you're even a minister at your church, or synagogue or whatever.
Exactly.
What they're doing, and find out about it, and then try to decide where you think you might want to work. Not what job you're going to get. Start to get a better understanding of the opportunities that are out there. There are many more than you ever can imagine. Well, I think many people look at the job they just had and they try to find another job similar. And there's lots of needs out there that are very different. For instance, I left Xerox and I was looking to go in marketing at another company. And I got approached by a search firm and presented to one of their clients. The client didn't want to interview me because I'd gone to Yale and Harvard Business School. And he thought that I'd have to be too stuck up. So at Heidrick and Struggle said, Mike, what about joining our firm? And it had never occurred to me.
Yes.
But that led to a great move for me because it was something that really fit with who I am and what I love to do. So my point is, when you are out there talking to people, think about what might be of interest to you. You just never know when it might be something that you had not considered.
Right. Be flexible and open to all kinds of opportunities. Things may be opportunities that you hadn't considered, but don't be rigid.
Right. Yeah. Don't be narrow-minded. When you've left a place or looking, you're free to go any direction. So it's a great opportunity. As my book says, get on the right path.
That also reminds me, is not only is your book full of, kind of shot through and through with wisdom, but common sense. You know what? It can really be beneficial to talk to people that are working in the field. Have a conversation with them. I mean, not only will you learn, but like you said, you might meet somebody who goes, I really think you're terrific. It makes so much sense, but we don't always do that as far as that using that tool, talking to people that are working in an area that you think you might like to work.
It's true. Yes, yes. Each chapter is a step along the way. And there's things to think about in that chapter. Again, you focus on what you're doing at the moment. And so each chapter is fairly short. I introduce ideas about it, stories of people who've done that or have been involved in that. And then I give recommended actions. So the first section about understanding yourself should be read by everybody. And then beyond that, go to where you are in the process.
Right.
Even when you start the new job, I have recommendations for that as well.
Yes, you do.
Many people go and think, oh, well, I'm going to be, I really did well. I'm going to tell them about where I used to work. They don't care where you used to work. I worked at such and YZ company. They don't care all the great things you did there. They don't care.
They don't care.
You're on this team, and how are you going to help me with what I'm doing?
Right. What have you done for us lately? I mean,
yeah,
it's just like in sports. I mean, it's like, oh, that's great that you were 5 for 5 yesterday, and you have, but not today's game. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's today's game. Here it is, career change, not guide. And
taking the right path could make all the difference, Mike.
That's right.
And Mike, where can people get the book?
From Amazon.
Fantastic. This is Mike Schoettle, everybody. All the best. We'll talk soon, Mike.
Okay, Peter. Thank you very much.